Okay, this is Team Deseret, and this is Brianna Hansen, Dixie Cravens, Diego Custode, and Tanner Goodell. So this is our MegaDesk application. We can add a new quote, and we're gonna the person's name here. If we put in a letter, we'll get an error that says enter digits only. So if we put in a letter, we'll also get only digits may be entered on this one, and you can't do control characters. So, and then we have our, if we do too high of a number, then we get the other error, which is minimum of 12 inches, maximum of 48 inches. So we can put in the drawers. We can have our enum with our types for our surface type. And then we can pick a processing time, and then we can submit the order. When we submit the order, we go to the display screen with all the desk specifications, width, depth, drawers, material type, delivery time, and then also the customer name, the date today, and then all the costs for each of the items, and then a total cost down at the bottom. We can return to the main menu, where we can go to view all quotes, and this fulfills the requirement for the data grid view that you can see all the quotes in the program, and a person can review them all. So we have the date again, the name, all the desk specifications, the order days, and then all the various costs with shipping cost, and then the total cost. We can also search quotes. So we can pick a surface type and find the quotes by that surface type. And then we can go back to the main menu, and we can get to the main menu from all the different screens, obviously, as was requested originally. And then we can exit our program. I'm going to pass it off to Tanner to talk about our next requirement.
All right, so we're going to start looking at the code behind the application. I'm going to start by talking about the list type that we used, which helped in the initial process of building up the quotes, and then we'll go into the search functionality. So at the beginning of our add quote page, we created two different objects, the desk quote and the desk object, both of which will interact with each other, the desk being an actual element of the desk quote object later on. But the thing we really want to focus on, or at least that I'm going to talk about, is the list element which we created. We had a desktop material list which used the enumerator defined inside of our desk file. We, of course, name this list desktop materials here. We pass in the information from our enumerated type, and that populates the drop-down box or combo box for our desktop materials. This list is used everywhere in our application where that drop-down or combo box is needed. Because we use the enumerated types, we're able to call the integer or string values of those drop-down values without having to use explicit calculations or verifications in the background, simply by calling the string or integer of the selected value. So that's how the list is implemented on the front and in the add quote page. Here in search quotes, we use the same list because we have the same drop-down menu. And we also have another list in here, which we'll talk about briefly, which created a temporary holder for any objects that fit certain search criteria. So now to discuss this one, we had to add this code, material combo box selected item, or selected index 0. This allows you to have a blank, allows you to have a blank selection at the beginning. That way you're able to actually select which item you want without having one up by default. As we go in, we activate that search by clicking a, search button. The first thing that does, of course, is clear any information that's inside our grid view, which we use there. It opens up our JSON file. It deserializes it so that we can work with the objects inside of it. We have a query parameter, which is set up that allows us to define what we want to search for. We create our list, which will contain any objects that fit that query parameter. And then using a for each loop, we go through every quote, finding, matching parameters. If a match is found, we create a temporary instance of a desk quote and desk object, creating a loading feature, which allows us to store all valid data and then add it to our temporary list. From there, our list was converted into a string array so that we could populate a grid view. So that covers the search and the implementation of the list and add quote, and I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to Diego now.
Right. Okay, I create the roach, sorry, get roach order. So in this, I create a line, string line to read the all the price order what's storage in the price order prices text. And we have this stored in this folder into the program. So we have the path for read this file. So we read this file and all the string, and we populate array one dimension and populate everything in this line. After that, I fill up two-dimensional array. So we create 2, 4 to complete this, populate this matrix of two-dimensional array. After that, we return this array, two-dimensional array. And after we use this method to calculate the value order. So we use the number or days, numbers of days we have in the order and the surface area, because it's the parameters we have to calculate this rush order. So we have 3 parameters. This is less than mils inches square, and between 1,000 and 2,000, and the other is more than 1,000. So we create indexes for these 2 parameters, in this case surface area, and create the indexes for numbers of days. And the other things, we create this array to receive the right value for the rush order. So with the index for day, index for inches square, we obtain the value what is the price for this rush order, and we return the cost. And was that we saw in the display form. This is my part, and I pass to Dixie.
Okay, so I worked on the JSON, sending it to JSON. And after reading the entire internet, Brianna helped me get it all in the right order. So what we do is we set up our path. If the file exists, then, if the file does not exist, then we create it. Otherwise, we read everything in the file into a variable and then we create another list of the desk quote type and fill it with the information in that file. And then we add our new quote list, which we have built in the beginning of this file, and then we serialize it all back into the JSON. And then this method is called, right here, it's within the submit order page. And so that is the way that we're reading the JSON in. And then the last thing that we needed to talk about was the front end design principles. We did change ours a little bit because of problems that had been happening in the class. We changed colors. Let me just go ahead and start it. We changed the colors and we changed the font. And one thing that we wanted to make sure is that, oh, I don't want to be here. Anyways, we made sure that all of our buttons lined up, and the one thing that I wanted to make happen was that when we went to, no, it's not there, is it? The main menu button's missing on mine. I'm sorry, I'm running on mine and not the master. Anyways, that's what we did. It's all there. We had a good time working together as a team, and we look forward to hearing your comments on our project.